Hello. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Dad, we're here.
Awesome. Good. I'm excited to be with you.
All right, we had a little delay, but we're ready. I already gave a little introduction, and we're ready to hear the word.
Okay. All right. So you're going to go off and I'll just talk. I plan to probably need 3 calls, 2.5 or so.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever you need.
Okay, son. Sounds great. All right. Well, guys, I'm so excited to be with you today. I got to tell you, this is the biggest honor of my life. Um, I've been a pastor for 36 years. I've preached in El Salvador, in Mexico. I've ministered in Costa Rica. A couple of years ago, I had the chance to minister on the continent of Africa in the nation of Botswana. Just fell in love with the people there. And so I've been a pastor in Texas and Colorado and of course, in Arizona here, we've been 19 years, and I've done ministry in Oklahoma and probably a lot of other states too. But I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous this morning. I want it to be good for you guys, and I really, really mean this. I never in a million years thought I would have the chance to minister to my son and his buds at Tano Unit. It's the biggest honor of my life, and so I am so pumped to be with you. I'm going to jump right into the word, okay? I want to encourage you guys today. There's this amazing story from Matthew chapter 17. It's pretty remarkable. It's when Peter is approached by authorities about owing some taxes. And it's Matthew 17. I'm just going to read verses 24 down through 27. I invite you to follow along. After Jesus and his disciples arrived in Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma temple tax came to Peter and asked, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" "Yes, he does," he replied. When Peter came into the house, Jesus was the first to speak. "What do you think, Simon?" he asked. "From whom do the kings of the earth collect duty and taxes? From their own children or from others?" "From others," Peter answered. "Then the children are exempt," Jesus said to him. "But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake and throw out your line and take the first fish you catch. Open its mouth and you will find a 4 drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours." So this morning, I'm going to be sharing about how Jesus provides in the most amazing ways. This story is just so incredible to me, guys. The authorities come to basically say, "Hey, doesn't your master pay the 2 drachma tax? Don't you guys believe in paying taxes? What's up?" And Peter says, yeah, we do. "Oh yeah, of course we do." And then he goes to Jesus. And I love that Jesus brings it up first before Peter says anything. Jesus says to Peter, "Hey, Pete, I got a question for you. When the king says you need to pay taxes, who pays the taxes? Do his sons pay the taxes or do the common people pay the taxes?" And Peter says, "Well, the common people." And Jesus says, "So that means the sons are exempt, right? They don't pay taxes? But we don't want to make a scene. We're going to pay the 2 drachma tax." And so I'm just amazed that Jesus is the one that brings it up. Peter doesn't even say anything. Jesus does. And then Jesus tells him the most amazing thing. I mean, this miracle If you stop and think about it, this is probably one of the most profound miracles in the entire Bible. I mean, it doesn't have the flair of some of the other ones. It doesn't have the drama with the huge crowd and all the people reacting. It's just only Jesus telling Peter to do something one-on-one, and Peter does it in obedience. And Jesus says, now here's what you do. You go to the sea, put a hook in the water, and the first fish you pull up will have a coin in its mouth. Take the coin out and go pay the tax. Now, how incredible is that? And I'm really drawn to the Berean Study Bible on this text because it uses the word hook, and I like that. Go to the sea, throw in the hook. The first fish you pull out, it's going to have a coin in its mouth. Now, this miracle is right up there with splitting the sea so that the Israelites can walk across on dry ground. This is right up there with, hey, Lazarus, come out of the grave. I mean, think about it. Who does this? Go fishing. First fish you catch, just open its mouth. You're going to be surprised. There's a coin in there. You're going to go pay the tax. We should be absolutely blown away by what Jesus did. I mean, I was blown away when I really stopped and thought about it. I've read the story before, but when I really pause and take it in, and when we're really thinking about it, it is incredible that God provided way ahead of time. And just think, how did that coin even get down there in the ocean and that fish find it? I mean, what happened? How did it get in the fish's mouth? I like to try to imagine, was there a boat going by? Was a very wealthy man just out there partying on a cruise across the sea, and he's got so much money, he's just throwing it in the air, celebrating, and a couple of coins slip over the edge. Oops, they're gone, they're lost. I will never miss it. Or was there a poor fisherman out there carefully counting his coins, trying to make sure he had enough to survive, and did a huge wave come on the scene, and all of a sudden he lost a coin and it flipped over the edge. And did he say, oh no, my coin? How did it happen? Or did Jesus simply make it appear out of nowhere? Was the coin always there, or did he just, boom, manifest it in the mouth of the fish? It doesn't matter how it got there. It's just simply incredible. And think about this. That poor fish, he saw the bait and he went for it, and he gets latched on to that coin, and somehow it gets lodged in his mouth. And I just picture this poor fish swimming around with a coin stuck in its mouth. For how long? Was it days? Was it months? Had he been out there several years swimming in the lake with a coin stuck in his mouth? You know, there's been some amazing times where God has done miracles for me and my wife and for our sons. I'm thinking about one time when Zach was, oh goodness, he's probably like 10, maybe 11 years old. No, he probably would have been about 13 or 14 as I think about it. But we had a real financial need. We were just absolutely short. We didn't have money to make bills. I mean, it was like, what are we going to do for groceries? It was bad. And here I'm pastoring the church, and this one gentleman wrote a check to the church. Now, he was a very, very wealthy guy. What he did, he flipped houses, and he would come across houses that had furniture inside that he had to unload, like he'd find washers, dryers, sofas, recliners, mattresses, and sometimes he'd just take it down to Goodwill. Sometimes he would just give it away to people. And sometimes when he would sell those items, he would just make a donation to the church. And so he wrote a check to the church for $600. And the church was really, at that time, we really had needs, we were really scraping. Well, it's kind of always that way, honestly. Just trying to barely get above water, and just ministry is like money comes in, it goes right back out. It supports all the different needs. But here we are personally, we had a $400 need. He writes this check to the church for $600, and that check bounced, and we couldn't afford that. And so I had the unpleasant duty of calling him and saying, hey, it's a little embarrassing, but that check you wrote to the church, it bounced. It didn't clear. And he's like, what? I don't know what happened on that. I've got several accounts. Somebody forgot to transfer money over. He says, I'll take care of this today, Pastor. I'll make good on that. And he said, where are you right now? I said, well, I'm at my house. He said, I'm going to swing by your house. I'm going to take care of this. When I hung up with him, I did something that was so bold, and really it was uncharacteristic for me. I usually don't pray this way, but that day we had such an incredible need. And I said, God, when he comes by, here's what I'm asking. I pray that first off, he would bring cash and not a check. And I'm asking you that you would just put it on his heart that, hey, this caused a lot of hassle for Pastor Keith. And because he had to go down to the bank and explain it to them, and then, the church account and all of that. So I'm praying that he will come by and hand me $1,000, and that he will say to me, Pastor, I know I caused you a lot of trouble with that check that bounced, and I put some extra money in there. There's $1,000. That $400 that is extra, that's just for you to do anything you want with personally, just because of the hassle that I put you through. And I prayed that. I pictured that whole thing in my mind. We were desperate. We were really desperate. And sure enough, within an hour, a knock on the door. I go to the door, and there he is, and he's got an envelope. He says, hey, I wanted to give you cash just so you didn't worry about another check going bad. I don't know what happened on that, but here's you some cash. And Pastor, it cost you a lot. You had to put up with a lot of hassle. There's some extra money in there, and that $400 extra, that's just for you to do anything you want with. He handed me an envelope with 10 crisp $100 bills in it. I will never forget that day. I thought, God, you just did a miracle. You put a coin in the mouth of the fish. I could tell you another story real quick. It happened a couple of years ago. My wife and I were blessed. We went to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and we had rented a car. And this couple let us use the timeshare that they owned. We got to stay there for a whole week. It was such a blessing. It was so incredible. Long story short, I had the key to the rental car in my swimming trunks, and I didn't realize it. I go out in the ocean on the boogie board. Man, I'm having so much fun. And then later on, we realized that key was lost. We searched everywhere. We're looking for that key all over the place. I've got people praying with us. Lord, we need a miracle, because we have to pay not just the fee, but then on top of that, the replacement of the key, and they're going to price gouge us, and we don't have the money to do this. This blessing is turning into a curse. God, we need a miracle. And so that key was lost for 36 hours. And then all of a sudden, there's a knock on our door, and at the door is a mom and her 2 little boys. And she tells us, did you lose something? We're like, yeah, yes, we did. We lost a key to a car. And so then she gives the nod to the little boy, and he pulls out that key and hands it to us. And I was so amazed. I said, God, you just did a miracle for us. I went down to the beach to thank the husband, and we took some little gifts to him and his wife and the kids. And I said to him, man, have you ever found anything like this? How did you find it? Well, I've got a little metal detector. And he says, but you know what? Dude, it's the ocean. It's the ocean. How could we ever hope to find something like this? Hey guys, I'm going to call right back, or you call me right back rather, and we'll finish.
Yeah, I'll call back.
Thank you for using Genetics. Goodbye.
Are you videoing? Was it not videoing? I saw you adjust it or something. Was it showing my nostrils?
No,
Oh.
but it was just now.
An incarcerated individual at the Arizona State Prison Complex, Safford. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To refuse, thank you for using Genetics. You may start the conversation now.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're back.
Hey, listen, I thought I would do a third call if you're okay with it. We might finish up the message on this one, or we may cut it close. But I would just like to be able to pray with you guys, and maybe, I don't know, if there's any kind of question and answer for a few minutes, or if anything comes to mind, happy to do that. But I would love to have special prayer if there's any needs, okay?
Sure, sounds good.
All right, so let's dig back into it. You know, Jesus does incredible miracles, whether it is to split the sea and make walls of water so that people can walk across on dry ground, or if it's to take a coin out of a fish that you catch, or to get you a lost rental car key out of the ocean, or to have someone drop by and give you money that you've been desperately praying for. I mean, there's been so many times where Jesus gave us a coin in the mouth of a fish. And I want you guys to hear me on this. He has a fish somewhere out there swimming with a coin in his mouth for you. He has what you need. And he's going to take care of it. It might be a financial need, or maybe you're praying for physical healing. Maybe there's something deep in your emotions you've been asking Jesus to do for you. He's going to do it. He's going to provide. So here's the question I have for you today. Where is your sea? Jesus said, go to the sea. Where is your sea? Where is the sea for you? Another question. What is your hook? Jesus told Peter, cast your hook into the sea. There is something that God has given each one of you men, a special gift, an ability, a talent. It's something that people want. They're attracted to it when they see it. They're going to latch onto it. They can't resist it. What is the hook? And so you need to define, this is my sea, and this is my hook. But the third step is most important of all. Cast your hook into the sea. Doesn't do any good to have the hook if it doesn't go into the sea. If you don't have faith to put the hook into the water, then what good does it do? You know what? Zach keeps me informed of what you guys are doing on Tonto Unit, and I'm amazed by it. He told me about the outreach you had last weekend. And I know this is the second time you've done it. And it is absolutely incredible. I'm picturing 5 guys giving free haircuts, 360 burritos, I think, boxes of tea, and guys with their Bibles open, sharing the good news, just loving on men. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. And I'm blown away by it. You guys are just like Peter casting the hook into the sea. You know what? I'm sure that Peter, he was a fisherman, right? So I'm sure he's used to fishing. And I know that Jesus could have said to do any number of things, but he tells Peter to go fishing. And I think that's pretty remarkable. You know, he doesn't say, hey, Peter, I want you to go down to the temple and have a conversation with the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Essenes. And in fact, I want you to take on the Sanhedrin and you teach them some of the finer points of Judeo law. No. He doesn't say, Peter, I need you to be a mechanic today. Something's broken on the other side of town. Go over there and take care of that. No. He knows that Peter is a fisherman. And I just wonder, how many fish did Peter catch over the course of his life? I mean, he cast the net into the water over and over and over again. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of fish. But Jesus says, hey, Pete, go fishing. And you know what? I kind of believe, although the scripture doesn't say this, I don't think he was out on the boat throwing a net in. I kind of feel like he was casting a line from the shore. I feel that way. I mean, there's nothing that really points us in a direction. But I just think for just a moment, he didn't have to be, you know, that fisherman who got the crew together and untangled the nets and worried about making quota and all that stuff. I just think on that day, he just sort of said, this is just like when I was a kid. And I'd go to the shoreline and just catch fish. It was something he was good at. It was something he loved to do. But that day, when he caught that fish, can you just imagine what's going on? Because he goes to the sea, he casts the hook into the water, and actually, the scripture doesn't even say there was any bait. I mean, I assume there was, but all Jesus says to do is throw the hook in the water. But in faith, he does that and he catches a fish. Now, there had to be that incredible moment where he's holding this fish and he's thinking to himself, I got to take this hook out of its mouth. And there's that undeniable moment where he has to have faith and open up the mouth of the fish and actually look inside its mouth. And to his astonishment, there it is. There's the coin. I bet you before he goes down to the temple to pay the tax, I'll bet you anything, he just dropped to his knees and worshiped God. I'll bet he said, Jesus, you are the Messiah. You are the Son of God. Only you could do this. There's no other way that anyone could ever provide like this. So guys, what is your sea? What is your hook? Do you have the faith to cast the hook into the sea? You will want to remember the name Earl Smith. It's quite a story. Earl Smith. He grew up in Stockton, California, the bad part of town. It was really rough. When he was 8 years old, he joined a gang. First time he got arrested was that same year. He was 8 years old, got arrested. And for 11 years, he lived that life in and out of difficult situations, in and out of juvie. When he was 19, he actually was in the middle of a gang war and he got shot 6 times in the face and neck. The doctor said he was going to die. Told his parents as he's going into surgery, I don't think he's going to make it. He'll probably die. And his dad said, you do what you do best, and I'm going to do what I do best. And he went and prayed. And Earl Smith says that day, when his dad left out, and he was left all alone in that surgery room, awaiting surgery, he heard a voice say to him, you're not going to die. You're going to be a chaplain at San Quentin. Well, the story goes that he actually did survive the surgery. He recovered. Over time, he got saved. He gave his heart to Jesus. A friend told him, hey, there's an opening at San Quentin. So he applied for the job. He got a letter from them saying, we're sorry to tell you, Reverend Smith, you are not qualified to serve as a chaplain. He crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. But then the Holy Spirit said to him, call them and ask why. So he did. He called. And they said, we're so sorry. We sent you the wrong letter. Actually, you are qualified. He ended up being the youngest ever chaplain at San Quentin. And Earl says when he first got to the general population, they were in lockdown for 13 out of 16 months. In fact, the day he started, 2 inmates were killed. That was so normal. He started with 5 guys in chapel. But here's the thing. He knew he would never be a traditional pastor in a church building. So he had an idea. He loved sports. He built a baseball field. And even though, like most prisons and general population, it was very segregated, but on the baseball field, there were no Hispanics, whites, blacks, Asians. They're just all athletes. And because of that, he got to know another chaplain named Pat Ritchie. He was the chaplain for the San Jose Sharks and the San Francisco Giants and the 49ers. And so, you know, these guys at the prison yard at San Quentin, they just played ball. They got to know one another. Earl Smith built trust with them. They ended up with 380 men in chapel. They had many volunteers. He asked the warden, hey, could we reward all of these athletes and give them a banquet? He says, no. Earl says, what if there's no killings on the yard for 30 days? He said, yes. And so the guys did it. No one was killed during that entire month. They had Bubba Paris from the 49ers come. Walter Hawkins, who is a famous worship leader, he led worship. This thing just swelled and grew and just became so enormous. After 24 years, he got injured at prison and he had to retire. But then they put him in charge of the chaplains for 8 prisons. One day, Earl gets a call from a guy named Dan Fiani. He says, Earl, I own the Golden State Warriors. I want you to be chaplain for us. You interested? Earl said, no. In fact, if you don't really tell me who this is, I'm going to hang up right now. And Dan said, I swear it really is me. I own the Warriors. And his wife, Earl's wife, said, don't ruin this. She really liked basketball. So he became the chaplain for the Warriors. And he observed that ministry is the same with athletes and inmates. He said, because it's not like traditional church. You get to live with these guys. You see them 4 or 5 days a week. You interact with them over and over. One time, Earl, talking with offensive tackle Steve Wallace for the 49ers and chaplain Pat Ritchie, they organized an event where on a Monday night football game, at the end of the game between the Giants and the 49ers, Steve Wallace would go to the 50-yard line and invite other players to pray. And they did it on Monday Night Football. First time it ever happened. The commissioner said, hey, you guys can't do that. That's fraternizing. If you do it again, you'll get fined. But the next week, Steve crossed the line and did it that week too. And now today, Pee Wee, Pop Warner football, high school, college ball, you see it everywhere because it was a step of faith. He got in his sea, he put in his hook, and what I'm asking you guys, will you have the faith to cast the hook into the sea? You're already doing that. You have a ministry that no one else has. Hey guys, I'm going to call back and just maybe we can have prayer together, but I'd love to just finish up with you. I want you to know I love you guys.
Thank you for using G-Medic. Goodbye. An incarcerated individual at the Arizona State Prison Complex, Safford. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To refuse charge, thank you for using G-Medics. You may start the conversation now.
Hey, it's good to be back with you. Oh, did I say I was going to call you back? That's awesome. Well, hey, I don't know really how to accomplish this, but just maybe, Zach, maybe if you just sort of run interference, I just wonder if anybody has any comments or questions or prayer requests. And I've had the chance to talk to a lot of you guys at different times. I think I know all of you by face. I don't know everybody by name, but I love y'all and I respect you. And a lot of times guys want to talk to a pastor. So I just thought I'd take one call just to pray for you. And if there's anything you wanted to talk about, for sure we can do that.